Hey Tom, good afternoon. Will your team be evening? Will your team be joining tonight, or is it just you?
No, they should be joining. It probably would just be one. They're all in a cyber lab together. So,
Okay, no problem. That's awesome. Are you all ready for your trip? You got everything planned?
yes, we do.
I know I can say that the Orlando airport is one of the worst in the country. That I actually almost missed my plane there because I was going through security with my two little ones, and I asked the TSA agent, being the person that I am, I said, "Hey, can I can I bring juice boxes?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And I asked the same question at BWI, and he said, "Yeah, sure," and I did. So then, of course, I got stopped, and then, Orlando, it's kind of different. It's kind of a haul from Disney to get to the airport, and so by the time he did his thing and his, you know, extra investigation, we were very close to. They had closed the door, and we got up to the plane, and they
Oh,
luckily
wow.
they let us in. So that
Well,
was
that was fortunate. Usually, once the doors close, they will not open it.
yeah, it was closed like for only a few seconds. But yes, you're right. It was we got lucky. And then I actually had to get the kids to school that morning. And it's funny because the plane landed at, I don't know, like it landed a little early, but then the tarmac wasn't available, and they wound up being late to school. The only time I had them late in their entire high school career. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So I see that we have University of Central Florida, and we also have San Antonio. That makes me assume that we don't have any representatives from Montgomery College here. Is that? Oh, wait, somebody just came on. Hello, are you, Abram? Are you from Montgomery College? Might give them a second to get their mic connected.
He's
Hello?
one of ours. He's San Antonio.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't have anyone from Montgomery, but we are recording this session. You should receive notification of that. So please be aware. Um, I will plan to go to 9 p.m. up to 9 p.m. I could be done earlier than that. It is actually quite kind of unlikely because I have a lot to cover and I want to also answer all your questions. So the first thing is your you will be using the same topology that you used that has 9 machines. So your systems have 9 machines. Um, and here you see 5 of them here. That's 2 Windows clients, 2 Windows servers, and one Ubuntu-based Linux system. Um, then you have more systems here. You have 5 more systems. You have a Red Hat based Linux system, an IoT device, which is actually a traffic light, a firewall, and a cloud, which are both BSD pfSense. You can actually click these and then you get access to them. Wait, I might be on the yeah, you can actually click and get access to them, or you can access them through the web portal, which I'll describe. And then there's a Windows firewall test machine, which is Windows 8. So you have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 machines. Okay. So each one of you have 5 people. You can divide and conquer. You can have certain people take firewalls, certain people take Windows clients, Windows servers. You each, if someone clicks one of the machines, then basically I'm on the red team here, so that's what's the problem. So let me click the all right. So if someone clicks on one of the machines, then basically the other students will be able to see that person typing. So you kind of have to share. You do have the ability to undock these systems, What that means is it will open in a separate window and then you can type. If you do that, then your team members can't see the system. So there is some strategy. However, I will get you all access into the systems a little bit before the competition starts. It starts at 10 a.m. So if you weren't aware, it's going to end at 2 p.m. There's not going to be any scoreboard the entire competition, not even for the first hour. That's how David wants it. He wants to make sure people come to see who's the winner and leave it a big surprise. So, but we'll go ahead and get you in the environment, and then I'll get you all into the CTF, and then I'll just hide the questions until, it starts at 10 a.m. and then I'll release it. So there will be several hundred questions. There may be up to 500 questions in various categories. And so the categories will range. There'll be network analysis, there'll be networking, there'll be operating system, there'll be forensics, there'll be anything you could pretty much think of in cybersecurity will be a category in this. So I'm going to bring up on my screen here on the other side, just so I can kind of go through something that I may have missed in my thing. And there's password cracking, there's network analysis, so PCAP analysis. I said steganography, so tools, lots of things about tools. So it might be NCAT or NetCat or Nmap or Telnet or brute force tools or FTP or Firefox or analyzing memory with volatility. It could be looking at the registry. So there's going to be quite a bit on the registry. There's going to be SOC questions. So lots of questions about your logs. So most of these systems have web servers. They have Telnet servers. They have SSH servers. They have FTP servers, all kinds of services, and you will be asked, what's the version of that service? You may be asked, go into the log file. Who logged in on this date? What was the IP address of the last system to log in? What was the browser that 192.168.20.2 used when they connected at 8:07 p.m. on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. So lots of very important being able to find the artifacts on the operating systems, Windows and Linux. I just ran a competition last week and 2 weeks before that. And one of the complaints I got was because we also did a training session at both of those. So I did some high school competitions and some veterans and college competitions. One of the complaints, some people said, well, I couldn't find where the web logs were on server, this version of server. You only showed me on this version of the server. Well, they're in different places depending on where they are. The event viewer files can be in different places. There's different ways to pull up the event viewer. So every version of Windows, and this is what's really great. I love this environment because it just gives you exposure to so many different types of operating systems and where the artifacts can be. And things could differ very little from Windows 10 to a Windows 11, or there could be a big change depending on what it is. So that's part of it. I have lots of things I want to go through to make you as successful as possible in this competition. So I will spend some time going through some of the things that I think will help you. I have a list of about 20 right here. But before I start that list, I want to see if there's any questions at this point, and then I will get to my list and go through everything, and I'll go through the entire scenario of what's expected. Any questions to this point? All right, excellent. So there is password cracking. So there are password cracking tools on 2 of the systems. I won't tell you which systems have them. You're going to find out on your own by looking with your team. But I can tell you that one of the systems has John the Ripper, the Linux password cracking tool, and one of the systems has Kane. So you can use those two things to crack passwords. There's various levels of challenges. So I might say, find me the password for Kermit. And what that could be difficult is I don't tell you which system that Kermit's on. Or I might say, find me the password on Windows 10 for this user, or find me the password for Kermit on a specific Linux system. But if I don't tell you where it is, now there are other things. Like if I say, give me the UID for Kermit, well, then you know I'm probably talking about a Linux system. If I say give me the UID for, I mean SID, then you know I'm talking Windows. And remember, you are allowed to use ChatGPT. You can use AI all day, right? Because AI cannot give you the IP address of this system. They are in the topology, by the way, but AI is only so helpful, right? AI can't give you the computer name of this system. You can go in there and find the computer name. So that's why you're allowed to use AI. It's encouraged. It could help you be more efficient. But the main thing that's going to help you be the most efficient is working together as a team. As you can see from this desktop, there's different tools on here like Nmap and Wireshark. So you may need different tools. There may be a situation where I ask you to scan systems, and I talked about finding a version number of an FTP or a version number of a web server, stuff like that. So using those tools can help you. You can scan that. So Nmap and ZenMap are on several of the systems. I believe Nmap is on 3 systems. No, 4 systems, and ZenMap's on 3 systems. So those are tools you can use. Now, keep in mind, whether you're on the internal part of the network or the external network, that you do have machines on the external network, so that will bring a difference. The other thing I want to talk about that's really important that will really help you, you know, there's no internet access in this environment. Most of you have already had a chance to get some exposure to this environment, and you know, because there's hacking going on. There's actually going to be some really cool hacking going on. I'll talk about Red Team. You're really going to love this angle of this competition. It's probably something you've never seen before. But anyway, remember, if you're asked to authenticate, you would just go up to the arrow and send Control-Alt-Delete. So if you want to get here around as early as 9 o'clock, I can have you all get into your systems and check things and look around. You won't be able to get any advantage over your teammates. I need to get everybody into the environment, but you won't be able to get any advantage over your teammates without you know, having the questions over the other teams. So if you look here, this is kind of important. So some of these tools allow you to do various things like look at processes. Some of these systems have malware on them. They're beaconing to certain systems in North Korea. You know, it's the fake network. There's some hashing tools. This looks like some type of a RAM dump. There's all these different tools. And what you may say to me is, you know, we don't have internet access and we really need this tool on Windows 10. But it's not there. So you have limited our team by not giving us what is needed to be successful. So let's take a look at that. PS here, there's a okay. So for example, say one of you wants to use this tool or this tool, and you see that those tools are available for you on the server, but those tools are not available for you on Windows 10 or Windows 11. Does any one from the group want to be brave and speak up on how we can um, still use the tools if they're not on one of the given machines? And we'd like to have that tool on the machine based on this network and environment. Keep in mind that you're administrator and root on every machine. Anybody have any thoughts that they'd like to be brave and speak up? I'll paste something in the chat and see if anybody wants to say anything. So let's see. Anybody have any idea how we could get a tool like a Process Explorer on to one of the other systems, like maybe Windows 10 if we needed it there? Like maybe we could copy it to the share directory and put it in there and save that. That might work, right? I don't want to give away too much by showing you directories. We have SCP. We can copy things. There's a FTP root directory. So we can copy things between all these different machines using any of our networking services, file and print sharing, SSH, FTP, SCP, depending on where you're copying it to and how you want to get there. So you have a way to get everything on everything. That's what one of the beauties of this environment is you can move things around all as much as needed. You're allowed to use these types of things. Now, if you put a folder in the share, the only thing that I could see that could cause you a slight issue is if you get some question about, like, how many files are in the share. You would have to do something like confer with your team members. Did they put anything in there? Something like that, because originally there were 2 files. Obviously this one looks pretty bad. So I definitely see this one looks pretty informative. So I definitely see some flag questions about that. So you're doing a lot of blue team stuff. You're looking for things, you're finding malware, you're analyzing malware, you're looking at Wireshark files. It's meant to be a CCDC type experience. There could be up to 500 questions. You only have 4 hours. So you really have to hammer away. Some of the questions are worth a lot less points than others. Some may be worth 2 points or 1 point. Some questions are worth 30, 40, 50 points. So, you're going to have to divide and conquer. There's lots of stuff. You're going to have to use strategy, talk to each other. Hopefully, most of you already have a Discord channel that you can engage with your teammates on. So at this point, I'll get into the next level of things I wanted to discuss and see if there's any questions from any of you yet. Okay, so remember, there's other tools on here. So there's forensics tools. So here you see autopsy. That will allow you to look at images or load images. There may be preloaded images. There's FTK Imager. There should be all types of other tools on here that you can use to do various things. If I'm not mistaken, there's volatility on there as well, so you can analyze RAM, all types of tools. So you have to find the tools, you have to search for things, etc. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is some of the trickiness. The trickiness comes in here, and this is mainly just so you all are aware. I may ask you a question like, what is the SID of administrator? So most of you probably know the built-in administrator has a SID of a security identifier of 500. So basically, that's part of the number. Basically, you can see there are lots of basically bogus administrator accounts So you're going to have to kind of know how to parse out between the different accounts and find out which specific account I'm talking about. And that will be evident when you're looking at the CTF questions. But your main thing that you need to consider when you're doing a CTF like this is, have other people gotten the question right? So say 4 other teams got this question right, and you're like, well, I don't think this is right. Well, that's one thing. And then make sure you're using the right particular user. So this is not supposed to be easy. This is also supposed to be a compromised machine. So you look at this. Another important fact that I didn't want to leave out about this machine and this machine are whether you use student versus administrator. I give you the passwords to both. The password for students, just password. Um, but the password for administrator is um, fancy password, which I'll put in the chat, and it'll be in the CTF, and you'll all have all the directions before you get any access to any CTF questions. You'll have the access to everything you need. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna click on something else, then we'll click back here. And as you see, that forces me to log back in. But when I log in as administrator, which would seem better, right? Have all the power, right? The issue with that is that you are actually seeing different things on the desktop. So who you log in with can matter on what you see. You still have access to the full machine. You're an administrator in both cases, but what you see when you log in, based on who you are, that can change things a lot. So that's just something to keep in mind. You get all the passwords. There's no guesswork here. Every system you will have the password, the administrative password too. So there is no guessing passwords or anything like that. So you will have all that, and that's a thing that you need. Okay. So the other thing, IP addresses. So you see all the IP addresses, they're all listed. When you go in there, they're all going to be the same as what you see in our topology diagram. Remember, you have all 192s, and then you have your firewalls that each have 2 addresses, and then you have your Windows test machine. So I believe you can actually click on that firewall too. So you have access to all the firewalls. Yeah, this is a different system. I was thinking, oh yeah, some of them I guess are hot spotted, but you have access to all these systems. I would not change any of these settings on the firewall or cloud. You are full administrators. You do have the ability to revert, but that takes time. And since there's so many questions, you don't really want to be messing with your IP addresses. I'm going to talk about that next part of this really cool thing that thing. Here you can see the status of everything, and you can power stuff on and power it on off. So we've been talking about for over a year about a live red team. So there will be a live red team at this event. I'll get to that in a second. So yes, some of the questions might say, let's just give you an example. Give me the IP address of the system that has, I'll just make up something very easy, an X drive. So you go onto the Windows Server 16 and you say, oh, there's the X drive. So that's the answer. So the flag is the IP address. That may, a lot of these ones like that are a one attempter, which means if one of your teammates types that IP wrong once, that's it. You do not get a second chance. So a lot of the ones like that are going to be some of the questions you can they have unlimited attempts, but some of the ones that are more specific, like, hey, this system has an a Y drive on it or something like that. I'm just thinking that's not a question, but I'm just saying you're only going to get one chance to answer something that you could basically guess and get have a 20% chance of getting the answer right based on, okay, so Y drive, that could only be one of 4 Windows systems. I got a 1 in 4 shot now. So without even logging in, I'll just guess this. So that's why I don't want to do that. So all right. So back to the red team. So before I get there, I have that as my last item. There's different tools we talked about. There's Wireshark, there's Telnet, there's Netcat on some of these machines, allowing you to check for ports, to connect to other systems, to look at PCAP files, to there's even other further network analysis tools like Network Miner. There's TCP dump, there's T-Shark, there's all kinds of network parsing things on there for you. There is no Splunk. I don't have that, but there's lots of tools that you'll be able to use within the 4-hour time frame. There's Firefox, Chrome, Edge, lots of browsers to connect to different sites. There's tools like wget, etc. There's network shares that I talked about that may have things that you can send back and forth between other file systems or FTP. SSH is on the systems. If you want to use Metasploitable, Metasploitable has like the lowest permission. So anytime you put anything there, it really is going to require very little login or authentication to move it from one system to another. You can move files anywhere you want. That's perfectly legitimate. You all have the same IPs. No team has a different set of IPs. You're all on your own separate VLANs. Everything's exactly the same. If you have any issues or you see anything that looks odd, you can let me know, but everything's thoroughly tested before you start, as well as we'll also give you time for testing even before the competition starts. So you all feel confident. So that's that. The other thing about Metasploitable is it has several databases on there. So there will also be database questions too. That database specifically is MySQL. So you may want to look at some basic stuff, but remember you can use ChatGPT, you can use Google, you can use the resources. The only thing you're really not allowed to use is anyone beyond who's at Ohio State with you. So anyone outside of the competition, you can all work together. There is another team that's not here that has 2 teams. Those teams would not be allowed to collaborate, but I wouldn't really worry about that too much because one of the teams has 5 and the other team has 1. So I'm not really thinking there's going to be any collaboration between them. Okay, so now the moment you have all been waiting for 30 minutes, you have been waiting to hear about the red team. So this is going to be a very interesting approach to the red team in this particular competition. What's nice for all of you, especially people like Coach Tom, is this is going to be what we call a fair system. In the red team, in the CCDC, it is they can target whatever team they want. They have no rules. They can scan whoever they want. They can completely say, we don't like UCF and go after them exclusively and leave USF completely alone. There aren't any real rules in the regular CCDC. I've been on the red team, so I know it. Typically what we do is, we'll start at, they all use different IP ranges. So you see how everyone has the same IP one, we're all ones. They do like, UMGC's 1, UCF's 2, USF's 3, San Antonio's 4, Montgomery's 5. They do that kind of stuff. So basically we are doing what we call a fair red team. And this is going to be very interesting. And I think a lot of you are going to be happy about this aspect of the competition because, come on, admit that while most of us will probably wind up working in some SOC or blue team capacity of incident response or forensics or something. Um, Everyone really likes to and wants to somewhat be a hacker. So we have a very low hanging fruit, easy target, if you will. What part of the competition will be, it goes from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So all of your teams will have the ability to what's called hack back. So one of these three red team machines is, I would say, extremely easy to hack. You're gonna have to do a little work. You're gonna have to scan it and find what's open and try to connect. But basically with the tools all of you have, and I already tested it myself today just to verify, you will be able to hack the North Koreans. So the North Koreans have 3 IP addresses. They have this one, and this one. One of the machines is hackable. Once you get into so there's 3 levels of there's like 3 to 4 levels of hacking. There's scanning it, there's getting some limited access, there's getting into the system completely where you're able to look at any files on their system, and then there's the 4th level, which is command execution, where you're running commands on the North Koreans box. And once you do that, you can look at things like services or all types of cool stuff. So once you get into their system, you can get more flags. Even just scanning their systems will get you flags. And if you're able to get into their system, the goal is that you are allowed to shut their system down. And if you shut them down by 1 p.m., then there will be no red team attack. If you are unable to hack into the red team in North Korea by 1 p.m., at 1:01 p.m., they will shut down all your Linux systems. So that includes the Red Hat, the firewalls, the IoT, the Metasploitable. If you are not able to attack the red team, actually, my bad. They will shut down all your Windows systems. Then and then if you don't hack, if you don't shut down the North Koreans by 1:30, then they will shut off your other 2 systems, your Windows systems. So if you don't shut those off, if all your systems will be shut off by 1:30, if you aren't able to get into and connect to this system, to this any of the particularly hackable North Korean system by 1 p.m., then the red team will start attacking you and shutting down your systems. So as I was saying before, it is kind of an easy hack. You all will need to designate someone on your team that you feel can get in. I don't anticipate a lot of you will have a lot of problems. There's a slight bit of trickiness, but it's not too bad. It took me about 2 minutes, but you will have 3 hours to shut down the North Korean network. And if you don't, then your systems will start going down shortly after. And even if you don't get them shut down, you'll still have till about 1:30 to work on the systems that are left up, which will be all the Linux systems. So your Windows systems, you won't be able to answer any more questions after 1 if you don't hack back. If you hack back and you shut down North Korea by 1 p.m., then your systems will not be touched, and you will be the red team will not engage with you at all. How we know about this timeline is there was a Signal app that somebody got an encrypted message and they were accidentally added to the chat. So we have the exact time frames. But this is the thing is, if you get into the North Korean system within 5 minutes of the competition, you don't want to shut it down because there's flags out the wazoo. So there's a good 1,000 points of flags from hacking back. If someone doesn't hack the other systems, can they still win the competition? That's a fair question. The answer would be absolutely yes, they can. You could probably get about 4,000 points without hacking back. What will be interesting though is once your systems start going down because you can't answer any more questions. So it's a race, but it's not a lot of pressure. What's beautiful about this is you control the red team. In the CCDC, the red team controls you. You have the option to kick the red team out. As all you have to do is hack their infrastructure and shut them down by 1 p.m. Once you shut down their systems, basically it's kind of like, in a real cyber warfare, they're just going to withdraw for now and come back later, which is after the competition. But so it's kind of like a real hack back where you're in their systems, you get the stuff off their systems, and then they see that you're there and they kind of withdraw and go back. So I find that to be an interesting aspect. We did want to add a little red component. And this is what's really nice about this is it's very fair. So say none of you get into the red team, then you're all going to be in an equal position because none of you will all of you will be shut down by 2:30. I mean 1:30, and then I guess in theory the competition would end at that time if you none of you get into the red team systems. But I do want to emphasize that this is a very straightforward, pretty easy path to get there. It might take you a while, but I mean, I could see most of your teams with your skill levels probably getting in there in 30 minutes or less. But you do want to have at least one person maybe assigned and say, you're our best attacker on you know how to scan and do a little low level attacks. Why don't you try to get into the North Koreans? But please, once you get in, please do not shut them down right away. If you do shut them down early, then I'll have to determine if how we're going to handle that. But please wait to shut the systems down. I will know once you're in them because the only way you can get certain flags is if you're there. So I'll know when all three teams, or if none of the three teams, get into the red systems of North Korea. I'll know. I'll know if you start scanning them and finding out what's open and what's not open. I'll know immediately if if you have those chops amongst your team. And once I see certain flags, I'll know you're in. So once I know you're in, and if you all get in, then you all will not have to deal with the retribution from the red team. So that's that. So now I would definitely hope at some point there might be some type of questions. I hope you find this to be an interesting kind of variation of CCDC that actually maybe promotes a little bit more fairness. I know you always wanted to hack back at CCDC, but you were always told you're never allowed to do so. So this is the only competition I've heard of where not only are you allowed to hack back, but it's actually quite fair in that you have a 3-hour leadway on the red team, and even if you count your Windows machines, you have a 3.5-hour leadway. So let's see if there's any questions. You may think of things that I haven't mentioned or have questions, and I hope you're excited. I think it's going to be a fun time. It's a fantastic campus. it's a great opportunity to get away. You don't want to go to Ohio in the winter. In the fall is a nice time to pretty much visit almost anywhere in the US, especially maybe if you're in hot, sunny Florida. Florida is very hot in August. I've been there, lots of storms. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun for all of you. I look at the fun. I know there's stress about, winning and stuff like that, but I think you're all going to have fun. I think you're going to learn a ton. I think you're going to learn to work together with your teammates better than you ever had. And I think you're going to all enjoy it. And I think the coaches will enjoy it too. So let's see if there's any questions. Is anybody excited about hacking back the North Koreans?
This
Okay.
does look really interesting. I do want to comment that.
Okay. Well, that's great. I think interesting's good. So, and I do want to re-emphasize that those who get there, I will be there at about 8 a.m. and I think check-ins at 8:30. Once you get there, I'll let you in the environment and you can get in there. It's not going to give any advantage to any teams. I'm going to make sure you can log into all the systems and don't be messing with firewalls. Don't be deleting malware. Don't be doing a lot of don't mess with anything. Especially do not mess with these firewalls. If you break these firewalls, there is a revert button. But the thing is that I haven't tested it. And if you break these firewalls, sorry about the dog. Ruby, no. If you break them, you cannot hack the North Koreans. It's like shutting down Verizon, right? So so I will let you all get in there and get comfortable and familiar, and even just something as simple as this, you have let's take a look at the names on the list here because so I can make it kind of okay. So you have Broderick on this machine, and then Daniel wants to get on this machine. Well, they got to kind of experience what's going to happen when they're both trying to get on the same thing at once. This happens all the time in this shared virtual environment that I knew, how to control alt delete, all this stuff. We want to give you a little bit of time. I don't want to make the competition about your getting comfortable about the environment. So we'll give you access, as soon as we get you in there and your team in there. Even if your team's not here, I can get you in a while. Then you can help, guide them through the environment. Once you get to the CTF part, I'll get you all in, but here's what you're all going to see. When you get to the CTF, I can show you this without giving too much away. This is what you're all going to see when you log into the CTF. So that's fine. You won't see any challenges. The challenges it'll say forbidden or whatever. So, and then after that, I'll release the challenges. There could be up to 500 different questions. You have 4 hours. So you do the math. You got 5 people. That's about 100 questions a person. Got 4 hours. So that's if you don't hack. That's if you hack back successfully, you have 4 hours. If you have no hacking back, you may only have 3.5 hours. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be a live red team, possibly. The main goal of the North Koreans is to shut down the servers that they indicated they would within the Signal app. I'll also send a summary of all this as well as the recording to all the coaches in a few minutes here. So unless there's any other questions, are there any? I can stop the share and we can end the meeting and we can look forward to most of us will be traveling probably. I assume most of you will be traveling on Thursday. Is anybody, Tom, are you, is your team attending that ISACA training?
We are not. We won't be there in time. We are flying in tomorrow. We'll be there in the afternoon. but not in time to do the soccer training on Thursday.
Okay. Okay, and how about you, Coach Pete? Are you? I'm gonna stop.
We're